Hey guys, I'm Hillary, and today I would like to share with you my 422 response in regards to the reading of Dr. Min's Weaving Technology into Your Teaching. First, I'd like to start out with the 4 quotes that I found, and the first one is, "The value of the technology depended on how it worked in the hands of a teacher." I agree with this quote because you can use all the technology in the world and not be a great teacher. It basically depends on how you use it and what you use it for, and because of that, that can either make you a great teacher or a not so great teacher. Technology must be used effectively and appropriate to engage student learning and to bring a welcoming, inviting environment. For example, PowerPoint would be a good example of a type of technology or software that can either make you a great teacher or not so good teacher, because in a PowerPoint you're presenting information to students, and if you don't make it creative, interesting, and inviting, then students are not going to want to look at it. The second quote is, "The computer could fulfill its early promise to revolutionize education as a powerful administrative and instructional tool for teachers." This statement or quote shows that computers are already now being used in educational purposes such as communicating with students through email, posting information, and giving students access to materials and course content to help them learn. An example, of course, would be like enhancement classes, and also too you have where it's involving where now we have online classes to students, as well as video conferencing and virtual classroom. And because of this, teachers are taking advantage of this tool of technology, whether it's good or bad. The third direct quote that I found is, "We believe that the interactions among students and teachers are what make magic in the classroom. While student computer use has value, it shouldn't come at the expense of teacher-student and student-to-student interaction." I agree with this statement because nowadays you need communication to get through life. It's kind of hard to go day by day and not talk to anybody. I feel like relationships, any type of relationships, are important. Communication is important, of course, in workforce and everyday life. It's kind of hard to communicate efficiently if we're always or most of the time behind computers. And the last quote was, "As one Department of Education document states, quality of teaching has major impact on student achievement. Studies show that teachers' ability, experience, and education are clearly associated with increases in student achievement." I agree with this statement because teachers are really the main foundation of getting information out to the students. Computers or technology is great, but teachers, of course, matter the most. That's kind of what I was saying by the foundation. Computers and technology can teach students some things, but students are not going to be able to learn everything about that technology unless somebody tells them how to use this or how to do that. Or, of course, how to learn to use software unless they're taught by somebody. Okay, now I want to move on to the 2 questions about the reading that I have. First of all, the first question that I have is, how can we as teachers know when it's best to implement technology in our teaching, such as when to use it and when not to use it for certain content? Or is it possible, how can we use technology in every content and use it effectively to where students can learn? My second question is, in today's world, is it still possible to use effective teaching without the overwhelmingness of technology? If so, how would this work? Finally, I want to finish up with 2 related examples from the reading. The first, I kind of would like to refer back to or expand on the last quote that I shared about teachers and quality of teaching and how computers can't really replace teaching. It's kind of impossible. I mean, it probably could, but it would be really hard. For example, if technology replaced teaching, then young kids are not going to be taught fundamental skills such as reading and communication, which are necessary and essential. If you think about it, like, usually for me growing up, I had somebody to teach me how to pronounce words and how to read and how to do all that stuff. It's kind of hard if you just say, okay, kid, get on the computer, and they don't really know what they're doing because they don't know how to read, and a lot of things branch off reading. If you don't know how to read, you're not going to be able to know how to do this. You're not going to understand pretty much all the concepts that come to learning how to use a computer or anything like that. And it's kind of like, I'm going to think about the future, and if this were to happen, in the end, parents might have to become the teachers instead of teachers and technology combined. As a result, teachers, I feel, are still important. I myself feel this is true. I would not want to take a class where I felt like just the technology was teaching me and not a teacher. I don't learn that way. Anyway, and the last related example I have is computers and technology are definitely revolutionizing. Anybody can access it. It's not hard to find or take educational classes online virtually or through video conferencing, since that is one of the results of computers and technology. I myself have taken a few online classes during my lifetime. Some were challenging, some were not. It just depended on the content, and some of it, taking it online can be really hard because sometimes you don't have the motivation that you would if you were in class with a teacher and other students interacting with each other. Well, that's my 422 response, and hopefully you've learned something or got something interesting out of it that you didn't know. Thanks.